The hardest thing for foreigners getting a job in a Chinese company, especially a big Chinese company, isn't the language. While that might be a problem, it's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is
Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel bringing you China of the 21st century. Today I'm here with my good friend Jordan.
hello.
To talk about working in China. Hey man.
Hey.
How's it going?
Very good right now.
Alright, so let's talk about your beginning. You came to China as a teacher.
Well, yeah, I kind of followed the trend like a lot of people did, especially 10 years ago up to kind of recently. Teaching in China has been the big thing. People coming from all over the world.
And it's easy for Americans like you. You're from which state?
United States, Minnesota.
Minnesota, right. A good white boy.
Yeah.
Teaching English in China used to be a golden days for that?
Used to be the golden days, yeah. I mean, you could come, as long as you had your degree and all your papers, you just come and you got a job, like you could say the money was good, but just the lifestyle you were living was very good, probably much better than what you would have back in your home country. Just right off the plane, right?
Cost of living was cheaper.
It used to be super cheap, salaries used to be quite good, and it was very stable. That was the main thing. It used to be so stable.
So teaching was like a gateway to get into China, but it's not something you wanted to do. I mean, you could do it well enough, but it's not something you wanted to do for the rest of your life, right? You went on to work for a big Chinese company. How did you manage to move forward then?
Oh, well, so kind of as soon as the outbreak hit, I thought to myself, and the first school shutdown started to happen, that's when I was thinking, I fell in love with China. I love living here. It's been over 10 years now. And I wanted to really protect myself. And when I saw what was happening with the lockdowns and everything, and schools being shut down, teachers being out of work for a long time, I wanted to make a career change right then, right there. And that's when I made the move to, throw off teaching. I haven't been doing teaching the whole time I've been here. I've had like 6 years of doing other things as well, but It's always something that you could have always fallen back on, right?
Teaching.
Yeah, you could always, take a shot in some business or some other career paths, but you always had teaching to fall back on. But I guess I kind of saw that window, that kind of safety net of teaching start to get a little bit smaller. So I made the move to go into a different career.
What do you do? What's your forte?
I moved into marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, you did some marketing before, right?
For sure.
You did a couple things for us at Here magazine.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then what was the process of finding a job, a proper job?
Okay, so basically I use the resources which are readily available to everyone, which is the Chinese job websites. There's one in particular which I really like and I would recommend to anyone, hiredchina.com.
Okay, shout out here.
Yeah.
Okay, Hired China. But there are other ones too.
There are other ones.
Just go online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is not finding a teaching job.
No.
But they may have too.
They will definitely have teaching jobs in the mix.
Right.
And the nice thing about some of these sites is that their headhunters will contact you directly on WeChat. So you can tell them what you're looking for.
Okay.
So if they're offering you jobs at companies which you don't really see a future, you can call them out and say, yeah, no, I'm looking for a big company, an established company. Right. Or maybe you do want to work for an upstart. Yeah, you like the energy of a young, dynamic company. They can usually find what you're looking for.
What kind of salaries do you think people should expect?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are in your career. So if you came here right out of university, you're under 30 years old and you're looking to move to a Chinese office job, you should probably expect kind of an entry-level salary. So that would probably give you around what a teacher would make. So
so it could be 15, 20, 25. It could be somewhere around that.
Yeah,
right?
Depending on the city.
Depending on the city, big time, I think, because second tier, third tier, very different than first tier city, right?
Yeah.
Although first tier city, you're gonna make more money, but your cost of living may be much higher.
Much higher.
So you have to be very careful and understanding all of that. You started looking, and I must mention that you speak Chinese quite well.
Yeah.
And Cantonese.
Correct.
How much did it help you?
I would say it helped mostly to it helped in making myself likable and be able to make connections with the people I worked with. Was it absolutely important for me like to speak Chinese to get the job? It probably helped. But in my experience, it didn't. I didn't really feel like I needed to be using my Chinese every day.
For the jobs you got,
Yeah.
they didn't ask for a foreigner that's fluent in Chinese, or it was like a bonus.
It may have been a bonus. It may have been preferred.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll find that. And if you see a job that says requirement fluent in Chinese, you can see how hard that requirement is.
Right.
Well,
But I guess that some jobs would be that, and I also guess that the job that required that would pay you more.
yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I think the hardest thing for foreigners getting a job in a Chinese company, especially a big Chinese company, isn't the language. Well, that might be a problem. It's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is like, how can you adapt to the work culture of a large, established Chinese company?
Okay, so before we go into this, which is very interesting,
Well,
let's just say, okay, you've been working for BYD
BYD, yes.
in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
BYD is, what is BYD?
BYD is the largest Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer.
Right, and they make some other things too, right?
They make batteries, they make mobile phones,
Yeah, they do that too, right?
solar panels,
Right,
like
buses
so
and-
many things. Yeah.
So it's a huge company.
Huge company.
How many employees?
230,000?
Okay, so it's a Chinese company with 230,000 employees, which you've worked for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So when you say culture of working for the culture in a Chinese company, in a big Chinese company, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
So what is it, this culture? What do you need to expect?
You need to expect that they may have been doing things a certain way for a very long time, which has been working for them for a very long time, which may instinctively feel like not how a normal Westerner would do things.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are things like jiaban, overtime, OT, you know? Do you want to work at a company where you have to overtime without pay? Because that's common in a lot of Chinese companies, yeah.
Or so you need to be ready to and deal with some frustrations in terms of culture of working.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an example.
Maybe it's like something that you might know about a market, yeah, like a foreign market, so your home market. So, for example, I'm from the United States. I would often talk about the importance of certain selling points of vehicles,
Okay.
right?
Because you know the American consumer, the one that buys vehicle.
Yeah, like
Right.
in America, we like pickup trucks,
Right.
we like fast cars,
Right.
right? So in the Chinese market, pickup trucks, not a big seller in the Chinese market.
So maybe they don't know much about it.
Yeah, and if you think about, like from their perspective, how have they gotten to their point of being number one? It wasn't through pickup trucks, right?
Right.
It wasn't for making super fast sports cars. Even though in overseas markets, they really like those things, it might be harder to like
Convince them.
Yeah, convince them. Something that might feel like normal for you, you might find some resistance on the Chinese side.
So you kind of mean, but I see it in other situations too, in other companies making other things. You might mean that they hire you to tell them those things, but at the same time, they don't take these things very easily.
I think it really depends on the company you're talking about.
Right.
So if you're at a company if you look at the big companies that you might have around here, okay, BYD, Huawei is big.
Those
They're
are
here.
the big ones.
These
But
are
there
the
are
gigantic.
many others that are a little smaller, it's still very big, and we don't even know their name,
Exactly.
right?
And in those cases, yeah, you might have the similar frustrations. And I think it depends on why you got hired in the first place. And I think this is also something that I think is interesting to talk about, because it seems like foreigners in China who get hired at these big Chinese companies usually get hired to do a specific job. Like they have a problem, or they have like a task that they want solved, and they hire a foreigner specifically to deal with that task. And then after that task is done, it's going to be kind of like, okay, well, what else is there to do?
Right. What can you tell me about BYD? I mean, working in BYD, is it like, what's great about it or what's not great about it?
Yeah, BYD is largely great. Almost every day I went to work was just it was really fun. I loved it. You know, it's like the best thing about it is they have this history, but they're also like really forward thinking, and they're really serious about their plans for the next 5-10 years.
Okay.
So when you're part of a company that's kind of riding a wave, you wake up feeling very motivated every day. And the work environment was actually very, very good. All my colleagues, wonderful. And not just like either the people I see in the hallway who I don't even know, people I see at the cafeteria, like everyone is really, really friendly. And I think you're gonna find that, like BYD, like 200,000 people, not a lot of foreigners there.
Right.
Dozens, dozens, yeah. So people will see you and they'll know, like, oh, hey, kind of like how it used to be when you walked on the street 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're like this really novel thing. When you're working at a company where you're one of the few foreigners there, people are usually pretty friendly to you. People are usually, it's kind of like going back in time. Actually, it kind of feels like 10 years ago.
How's the food there?
I usually eat outside.
Okay. Did you have to drive a BYD?
Yeah. So in this case, and I think this is common, if you work at BYD and you want to park at the parking lot on the company, you have to drive a BYD.
You must.
You must.
Okay.
Oh.
You can't go in with a Geely or something.
You can help.
No way.
Like if you ever work at Huawei, I bet you got to have a Huawei phone, right?
I guess so.
You probably do.
Something to check.
Yeah.
Right. We need to
Do you bring an iPhone into Huawei? Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing research.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, maybe like that.
Right.
I think they want a foreigner who is willing to be a part of the team. And I mean that in like a friendly sense. Like not being too distant. Yeah. So this is something I think that a foreigner really depends on which country you're from, but like as an American, we're very friendly with people. Typically, right? Walk in the office in the morning. Hey, how was your weekend?
Good morning.
Yeah. Oh, you went to the beach. Hey, how are the kids doing? Okay. And if you do that kind of thing, people will really like it. I think a lot of the things that I kind of make a good English teacher will also translate into being a good office worker. Oh, and an extension of that, no matter what office job you have, you will have people ask you to help proofread things. People will say, like, yeah, I'm like, look, I know, like, we're not really working together, but I did this thing for this product. Can you just like take a look at it in English? And you take a look at it, and when you do stuff like that, your boss will see that. Okay, he's really a team player here. It's not even his project. It's not even her project, but like they're helping other people when they can. Like these are the kinds of things that I think will really take you a long way in a Chinese company.
Do you think you're going to stay in China for a long time?
I plan on staying here my whole life. I love it. I'm kind of a weird case. Like day one, like 10 years ago, like 11 years ago when I came here, I was just like, all right, I'm staying here my whole life. And I did. I have. Like
so
up to this point at least, yeah.
So keep working for Chinese companies? You specifically want to work for big Chinese companies?
A big Chinese company brings the glory. It is a pump for your CV. And
right.
it's very nice, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And especially if it's like a huge, like internationally famous company, this can also help you overseas if you ever do leave China. But it's also fun to work for the young upstarts these days, especially like the companies that have come up in the last 5 years or so, like seeing how serious Chinese brands have become of like building themselves up and then selling overseas. And seeing how many more companies are serious about taking this approach, and it creates, I think, a lot of opportunities for foreigners who are here, and they're fun. Like they're very
it's
fun.
It's happening more and more.
Usually, you're working with a lot of young people, and it's cool.
So this is a good point because this is happening more and more. Whatever else is happening in China, and some things are not very positive for the case of foreigners being here, but still, that thing you just mentioned, that more and more Chinese companies are going abroad, want to selling their products abroad, and people in China, foreigners in China can take the advantage of this situation, that these companies, they need some help understanding the Western markets, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you're ever going to use that teaching safety net again? Never say
No,
never?
no, I don't think so. I mean, hey, you know, I don't plan on it. No.
All right.
All
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for the chat.
It's been fun.
Good to see you as always.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.